comprehensive guide, I think they are going to showcase here with the latest advancements, trends across various sectors, offering insight and detailed analysis from the industry leader. We are very, very keen on such an insightful topic.
These fintech integrations have become the norm of the new age banking that we see nowadays. Now, with each of these digital transformations and the digital forays that we do, there is also a regulatory aspect which comes into the picture, which curbs us and which tells us that, okay, you have to regulate your adventures, digital adventures in a very, what you call, securitized form and not to go in a Robin Hood state. So currently with, in my experience, what we are doing is we are trying to balance that whole structure with respect to digital transformation and digital integration towards of our products to the outside entities.
Sure. Thank you. Moving on from, the aspects you highlighted, let me go to Mr. C. Sumoth. He was heading digital bank till I think a month back, and now moved into a different role. But most importantly, sir, you have been there in the bank for the whole career of yours, right? Not unlike most of us here on the table. And you have seen Federal Bank going through huge transformation from a branch-based bank to a digital bank, right? I'm seeing the kind of use of technologies and all which has happened. So what has been the experience of the bank, and how have you seen customers, seeing the difference basically? While we can talk about it, but the measure of the success is only how the customers talk about it basically. So that will be one question. And I thought you have been there the whole tenure of the bank, so probably you'll be able to highlight it in much more deeper sense.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening all. As you correctly mentioned, maybe I have seen from the large, maybe 2-3 inch ledgers to paperless, maybe digital payments in the banking industry. And of course, from the bank side, we have taken a lot of strides from moving to maybe, at that point of time, it's called ALPM, Automatic Ledger Poster Machines. Then it comes to total branch automation, then to core banking, then to digital banking and all. But from the customer side also, we have seen the similar transformation or similar expectations coming from the customers. So earlier, we are one of the, Federal Bank is one of the pioneer banks to introduce ATMs at that point of time in Kerala. So at that point of time, we actually put, maybe it's 2 decades back, story I'm telling, we have put maybe guidance, means helpers near the ATM to guide the customers to do the transactions. So from that stage, right now, people expect banking transactions, or customers expect banking transactions to be as smooth as similar to Swiggy or Zomato. So we always quote maybe Apple as the best example. Apple phones or Apple iPads or iPod don't come with any physical manuals. So it's as seamless that there is no manual or there's no tutoring need for people to use the Apple products. So now customers expect banking products also similar to that. So it should be as seamless as possible. Once they download a mobile banking app, it should be similar. There should not be any, they don't expect a banking person to come and guide them how to use the banking app. So that aspect goes from the design stage of the product itself. So the product should be designed in such a way that it should be as simple as that for the customer to download the app and do his transaction, install, register, and do the transaction. So customers expect that right now, and to a certain extent, not only Federal Bank, all the banks in the country are able to meet that expectations. That's one point. Second point, from the customer point of view, in the customer's shoes I'm telling, they expect bank to be where they are present. It's not that earlier bankers used to go to the customers, or customers used to come to the bank branches. Right now, customers expect to do banking services where they are, whether it's at WhatsApp, whether they're on Facebook, whether they're in other channels, they want to do transactions. So, but of course, that convenience comes with, as Keshav was telling, the regulatory guidelines, the compliance aspects. So, along with the ease of convenience, we should also take in consider the regulatory and compliance aspects. But of course, to a certain extent, we are able to satisfy both the side, ease of convenience, as well as on the compliance and regulatory side. That's I just want to.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your insights. Now, if I take a clue from here about customer as the entity, I'll move on to Priyanka. She is National Product and Communication Manager at AU Small Finance Bank. while we may implement all kind of customer related digital transformation, technologies and products and all of that, how do banks like AU Finance have been able to kind of communicate about them to the customers, okay, and also make sure that they use them frequently rather than just being there? And the second question, which I would like you to answer, I saw in your LinkedIn profile that you have 3 patents in your name, and I believe they have now become 4. So a bit about them as well and how they are relevant in your current role.
Thank you for the special treatment with 2 questions. Okay, so I'll take the later one first for everybody's understanding, and I'll pique your interest as well. The patents that we have filed are, something that nobody has done in the industry across the world. We are the first bank in the world to launch insurance on ATM. You can buy insurance through ATM as long as you are a customer of AU Bank. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is we are the first bank, again, in the, I would say, industry. We have made WhatsApp journey for insurance, wherein you can buy insurance under 1 minute. So I'm not talking about any redirection, and I'm not talking about any iframe integration. I'm talking about simple policy issuance under 1 minute on WhatsApp platform. That's point number 2. Point number 3. Point number 3 is actually connected with the question number 1. Generally, bank is largely associated with liabilities and asset products. People, if they want to have fee-based or income-based products or value-added products, or like we bankers used to say, satellite products, they go to the respective insurance companies or mutual fund companies or AMCs, et cetera, et cetera. So my 3rd patent was to communicate to all my stakeholders, banking bhi, bima bhi. You get insurance, you get your financial solutions under one umbrella. That's your bank. So that's one of the communication that I used with my patent as well. The other communication, I'll very quickly divide this question into 2 parts. The first customer that we really have is the sales force. If I am not able to communicate to my sales force about my digital processes, my products, my platforms, I'll never be able to take it to the customer. So if I drive my processes, trainings, communications to my salesperson right, I'm 100% sure that it will go to the customer. However, in the current context of things, digital being a very, it evokes a very paranoid feeling in the customer as well, given that cyber security and a lot of fraud things are going on and they're very prevalent. I feel personalized, hyper-interactive messages, which strikes a chord with the customer in terms of their asset, their relationship manager talking to them, it becomes easier to, kind of tell them what we want to communicate. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Priyanka. What I would like to do is to bring Aveek. Obviously, Aveek, you are working with Unity as an emerging player in the financial services. It's a new player, as per my understanding, right? How you are leveraging, digital and the emerging technologies to expand your customer base in terms of, expanding your presence across the country and also increasing your portfolio, whether of asset or liability products, basically.
Thank you for that. I think it's a very interesting question because, see, we are ideally one of the youngest banks in India, right? It's just been a little above 2 years that we have started. So first is that a lot of initiatives are currently underway, right? And the path that we have sort of taken is to ensure that we have all the channels in place, right? Be it mobile banking, be it WhatsApp banking. We are also getting our internet banking and other things in place. At the same time, we are also collaborating a lot with our fintech partners in the market. Now, when you talk about how we are, how we are going ahead and expanding our customers' outreach, our customer acquisition through these channels, The idea is that what this is again from my experience, what I've seen is that go into fintech partnerships. A lot of people do, but then they just treat it as a separate business rather than a holistic business. So for us, we are also considering the fact that whenever a customer comes through any of the channels, right? My job is to ensure that I offer that customer a full-scale service. So even when we are doing partnerships, we ensure to sort of highlight the products that we have, the services that we offer. Second is that, of course, we are, I won't talk about it much because it's kindly a bit of hush-hush, but we are working on something very innovative, which is going to come out very soon in the market. That will be a one of its kind in India. Okay, and this is sort of a, you can say, a very different value proposition product, which combines, on one hand, it combines a savings and card product. On the other hand, it combines a savings and lending product. But this is really, really unique, which is going to come. From an experience perspective, definitely, we are ensuring that we stitch all the points together. But then again, it's easier said than done.
Thank you, Avi. Let me move on to Pradeep, sir. Bank of Maharashtra has been like a, kind of a shining light over the last 2 years. The kind of performance bank has shown from being maybe in the laggards to now the highest performing bank, and not just only on the financial parameters, but also on the technology uses, basically. It'll be good to hear from you how these latest technologies and digital transformations have helped bank to achieve the kind of performance which bank has shown recently in the reports and all.
Yeah, so thanks for praising Bank of Maharashtra. Yes, we are the fastest growing PSU bank as of now. From past almost 6 to 8 quarters, the results are coming on phenomenal basis. And even in some parameters, we are meeting the top-ranked bank like SBI and HDFC as well. Although our, in terms of volume is pretty less, what the SBI and HDFC is having, but in terms of the proportionate percentage-wise, we are meeting to them. We are expanding very rapidly, and the backbone is the technology, which you rightly touch base upon that one. So you talk about any technology, we do have all the flavors about that. Like the digital banking, you talk about anything, we do have in terms like AI, in terms of the machine learning, in terms of the robotics process automation, everything we do have. And few things which actually I would like to just state over here, like RPA is one of the backbone for the digital maybe the digital lending or digital acquiring, all these things stuff which we do have. That is also one of the backbone. But instead of this thing, the kind of the infrastructure and the kind of the team which is working in the background, I'm really appreciate the team, those who are there from top to bottom. Everybody is very loyal and hardworking over there. And that's why we are shining. Otherwise, if the backend, the team is not there and they are not contributing, then it's very difficult to on that one. Technology is always is a carrier which is actually flourishing in the market itself. So anyway, which we already do have. Lot of vision we do have in terms of to strengthen our technology. That is something we started already working upon that one. And you will see the results in near future as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And at the right time, when I shift gears from banks to insurance companies, Mr. Sunder Krishnan, Chief Risk Officer, LIC, has joined us. So maybe I'll start with you. We heard a lot. We heard a lot from the banking colleagues here in terms of, but from a risk perspective, if you really see, the latest technologies, especially things like AI and GenAI, how the financial services institutions are contemplating the kind of risks which are going to come up onto the institutions, basically, if you want to throw any light onto them.
Yeah, so the emerging technologies as we see, and AI is one of that, would throw up a lot of cyber security challenges, one. So you can't then think of a solution, fit it in. You'll have to holistically approach it. And therefore, you need to design your architecture well, much in advance, and fit the controls beforehand, and think through the path so that you're ready for all the kind of problems that you get later on. So it's not going to be an easy task, especially if you're a large company. One. Two, emerging technologies also have issues on privacy now. You need to seek consent. So you need to have the consent management architecture ready, either federal or centralized. There are two ways you can approach. Everything you would move through a modular consent management and then attach the digital apps which will go through that consent management route. Or within the app, you build in consent management. So both the routes are okay. You'll have to decide which is better and which is not. That depends on circumstances. So you'll have to have an effective consent management for privacy, ensuring that privacy of customers are kept. The other problem is, of course, the hacking that's going on, the attacks that are propagated. The number of attacks have gone up considerably in the what we face. And so it's like a humongous task to find out where, what, how, and how do we weed out the false attacks or attacks that are there. And then through so many logs, false positives, you could have to generate a kind of niche log. And that's again, if tracing out a good log is a very, very difficult task. That's a challenge. And emerging technologies also have challenges on the customer front. How does the customer adapt to the changing technologies? More complex you make, it's not better. You'll have to have a simple top-up front. Okay, these are the changes, these are the way we do it. Like banks have done it very well, especially in the recent architecture. How do they ensure that the customer doesn't put the OTP or other way around? The volume transactions, for instance. The first day you create an account, you can't pay more than 50,000 rupees or something like that. And so you'll have to be thoughtful of the customer process also. How simple you keep it, how easy you keep it, and at the same time you make him or her aware that these steps are taken at the end of the day to protect the monies that they have shared with us, the information that they have shared with us. Also, you need to explain to the customer why you're seeking a complex consent agreement. Because of the law, because of the changes, and of course, protection of the information that is passed on to you. So these are some of the key challenges. There are many more on emerging technologies that bring about. So this is how you manage this.
Obviously, I'm saying recently we heard about like deepfake. They faked one of CFO of a company in Hong Kong or Singapore, and a lot of funds were transferred, right?
This happened to us. CEO actually got, CFO actually got a request from the CEO, and the customer account was created. But finally, the CEO secretary was sharp, said, no, this can't be his instruction.
My God, so it's happening very...
And there was a big inquiry, how, when, what, how do you fix the process? So fakes are a very important part of risk element now. You'll have to be careful what is fake and what is not. Sometimes you're scared to ask the person, is this your message? But you all have to be fearless because it's a process at the end of the day. And then whosoever the person is, it could be chairman, it could be MD. You'll have to be clear. This is the process and you have to do that. So.
All right, sir. Thank you for your inputs here. Mr. Ravi, Seshadri, obviously, you have 5 decades of experience, 4 decades of experience in the insurance industry. You also cover various markets, be it Southeast Asia, Africa, and other modern markets like Europe and all. How do you see insurance sector developing over the next decade, and how is it going to really impact the customer service in terms of the products which will be coming up in the insurance sector?
Thank you for the question. Insurance as a product, as of today, is basically a pushed product. It has never been a needed product. Nevertheless, there has been a bit of shift that happened after COVID. Having said that, the penetration is slightly moving up, not in a great fashion, but to a certain speed. Technology is something that can really change the pace of insurance penetration. And if the government in India wants 2047 everybody to be an insured Indian, then naturally it can only through be technology. That's point number one. Tech can only reach out to everyone. Number two, as far as the customer experience is concerned, as far as insurances we look at, nobody is looking at a policy copy. Nobody wants a policy copy. They want the experience at the time of claim, because the moment of truth in insurance is only claims. How technology can help an ordinary customer to sail through a process of claims wherein he doesn't have to talk to somebody, get things done on his application. That's how the experience has to happen. And how the world has to change is, today almost all the technology companies have been concentrating on retail, but then more emphasis has to happen on the commercial lines. Tech companies have to get into the commercial lines to ensure that the endorsements, whatever that's required by commercial policies, especially where it's requiring reinsurance, everything is automated on a seamless process rather than just doing it. Because to a certain extent, retail sector has already been covered. As far as the commercial lines, there's a lot more to do. Probably that's where something which I see a lot of scope for both the insurance companies and technology companies. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ankit ji, you had the customer experience at Bajaj. Now, if you really look at the insurance market, probably the use of technology in outside of India markets may be a little higher compared to what we are doing it today. How do you see that evolving? Number two, also in areas like claims processing, etc., right? Because still some of this is probably not changed that it was, a few years back. It has probably been the same. So I thought any inputs from your side. Obviously, you have been with firms like GE and all, which are known for process automation and bringing efficiency. So with combination of insurance experience and GE experience, we thought it would be great to hear from you.
Well, thanks for that question. And I slightly differ that, in India, we are behind, the innovation and technology. If I talk about our company, Bajaj General Insurance, we are at number 8 when globally we talk about the digital insurers, right? So we are there, right? Yes, we are not number 1, right? So there is a lot of scope to improve. But when we look at the various technologies, and you mentioned about claims, and sir was also talking about claims, right? Various lines of businesses, we have actually gone ahead and automated that claim processing. But at the same time, frankly, I'm not a great fan of end-to-end automation. Right? We need to have the human element somewhere in between, to take care of any exceptions, right? Because you build technology, but that technology will fail, right? Because there is nobody in the world who can come and tell me that I will give you a technology which will have 100% uptime. It will fail, right? Now, when it fails, you need that human element to take care of it, right? Now, just to give an example, we're talking about claims and technology, right? The newest technology, artificial intelligence, conversational AI, okay? When we started about thinking about this technology that, let's kind of automate the entire contact centers or kind of eliminate the contact centers, right? We said that let's do the heavy lifting first. So what we did is we took a use case which was for farmers, because we have agri insurance, crop insurance, right? And in India, if there is a loss of crop, you get 72 hours to report that loss. That's the norm, okay? Now, whenever there is loss and people, farmers calling the contact center, you can't have so many people taking calls, right? Now, what we did, we created a Kisan Suvidha conversational bot, okay, which is a proper AI bot running on our entire system. And today, our farmers, who are our customers, if there is a loss, they first use that, right? In the first 45 days of our launch, we saw a whopping 94% adoption, which means end-to-end, yes, the bot actually handled everything, and the farmer were okay not to talk to anybody else. In 6% of cases, the human intervention was required. So what we did, a seamless transfer to the call center agent, right, to take care of, that human part, right? So a combination of the right technology and human, we were able to do that. And since I said, we did that heavy lifting upfront for the, I would say, the most difficult use case, right? Now for us, for other use case, for, let's say a health or a motor or any other line of business, it's a cakewalk, right? Because we have already done that, heavy lifting, and we are going ahead and doing it for other lines of business, right? So technology, yes, helps a lot, both from a customer standpoint as well as from business standpoint. But at the end of the day, you need to look at why you are actually doing it, right? If you're doing it for the customer, yes, go ahead and do it. If you're doing it for the board, you're doing it for a hobby, right? And as a group, we don't believe in, doing things for hobby. We believe in, bringing innovations which can scale up, right? So that if you have that, strategic, mindset, adoption and the best use of technologies will happen.
Thank you. Maybe I need to come and spend time with you in Pune and get to know more some of these developments which are happening. Now, Peter, attention is on to you. You heard all the esteemed industry leaders from banks and insurance companies. It'll be great to hear from you how open source can contribute into this innovation and the strategic priorities which most of these organizations have.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I must say I'm desperate to say that I have a product that can give you 100% uptime. But I just had to say it. It's not true, but I had to say it, sorry. Where does open source come into play with all of these innovations? Well, I think it's a truism that in the last 10 or so years, really all of the significant innovations that have happened in the IT world have happened in the open source space. So whether that's, modernized infrastructure, whether that's automation, whether that's AI, really all of the really significant innovation is happening in the open source world. And this is really just an extension of what's been happening for decades, that the mind power that's available from the community is always going to be greater than the mind power that's available just from one organization, single organization. So even my company, we're an enterprise open source company. If I go to our headquarters, I will very often go past the front meeting room, which has members of our engineering team, but also our competitors and our partners all working together to try and solve an engineering level problem together in a collaborative way. And then that is really the power of open source. And then that infinite possibility that open source gives you, then you need to have some enterprise support behind that, and that's where we come in. But as you try to implement AI concepts, as you try to streamline operations, as you're looking for ways to bring your business ideas into the digital world faster, all of the techniques, all of the technologies that are developing to help you do that are happening in the open source world. So adopting open source is not really an option anymore. It's a critical part of how you accelerate your technology.
Thank you, Peter. And thank you all from Finovity sides, for putting across your points.